been climbing for a few years now, but this is different. Here, there's no bolts, just the rock and whatever protection we can place ourselves. This is the story of our first time trad climbing. But why are we doing this? Don't get me wrong, I love sport climbing and bouldering. Even more than that though, I love mastering new skills and taking on new challenges in climbing. Trad provides a new level of challenge and will push me to quickly learn new technical, mental, and physical skills in climbing. But it's not without its dangers. The stakes are high. By placing our own gear, we'll be completely self-reliant for our safety. The gear might hold, or it might not. Trad climbing is actually the original form of hard free climbing. Before bolting was common, anyone that wanted to climb something hard had to place their own protection, following cracks and other natural protection options in the rock. Today, we have more protection options, and the most commonly used types are cams and nuts. Nuts are small metal wedges, designed to be wedged into tapered constrictions or cracks in the rock. Cams are spring-loaded devices that contract during placement and expand to stay in place when pulled on. Both are removable, assuming you don't get them stuck. Because cracks provide so many options for placing trad gear, many trad climbs require that you will be able to crack climb. Crack climbing is unusual among climbing techniques, in that you jam body parts, like your hands or your feet, inside of a crack, rather than grabbing a hold. Before ever taking a fall on gear though, we had to learn to trust it. Today we're climbing at Mt Erie on Fidalgo Island in Washington. We'll be learning to place trad gear with the added protection of some bolts and top rope. Every trad climbing placement is different. Unlike clipping a quick draw on a bolt, careful thought is required to ensure the placement will remain in place during a fall. These can fail for a bunch of reasons, but most are preventable. I'm paying attention to three main things when choosing a spot to place. First, I'm making sure the rock itself isn't crumbling or breaking. These things have the strength to hold a car's weight, but that won't matter if the rock they're placed in breaks. Second, I'm thinking about how well the cam or nut fits the placement. For nuts, we want a snug fit in a constriction where you can get lots of surface area contact with the rock. For cams, you want them to be almost fully closed when inside the crack, so they have plenty of room to expand and create force when pulled. Finally, I'm thinking about the direction these will be pulled in during a fall, usually downward. By aligning with the direction of pull, you minimize the potential for movement before the piece feels the full force of the fall. You also want to make sure it stays aligned with the direction you choose, and isn't pulled in another direction, or out of the crack entirely by the rope after you climb past. This is usually done by adding a sling to introduce some slack. These are common best practices, but they're no replacement for experience, which is why I'm going to test every placement by first pulling on it and then putting my full weight on it. This will give me live feedback about the quality of each placement and also build my confidence that these things can actually hold me if there was no top rope. We also have the benefit of several climbs here that are a mix of trad and sport. Most of the climb has bolts, but there are a few sections where you probably want to place some trad gear. These are few enough though that you'd still be safe even with just the bolts. I wasted a bunch of time fumbling with the cams and grabbed the wrong size for the placement a couple of times. You can tell endurance is an important factor here, as a good placement takes way longer to get right than it does for clipping a bolt. Well, my first trad fall came a little earlier than expected, but I never doubted the gear was good. I continued the climb through the bolted section and placed way too many pieces of trad gear in the runout section near the top. That was an exciting first taste of trad climbing, but I can tell there's massive room for improvement. Another major reason that felt harder is because a lot of these moves are meant to be crack climbed and are more difficult without using crack climbing techniques. To address these issues and prepare for our first trad lead, we had to learn the basics of crack climbing. This is Palisade Head, a massive cliff rising up on the north shore of Lake Superior. It's known as the best climbing in Minnesota, with amazing views, top rope access, and importantly for us, amazing cracks. To be honest, I found crack climbing to be unintuitive, insecure, and painful at first. Jamming body parts inside a crack to hold on seems like it shouldn't work. I felt like my jams might slide out at any moment. Twisting my feet in the crack was also really painful, and the backs of my hands were hurting as well, even with the crack gloves. With time and some practice though, things started to come together. Getting my feet deeper into the crack helped a bunch with making it less painful. And I started feeling more confident in my hand jams actually holding my weight. It's like learning to climb all over again. Every try you feel like you're improving, and it's motivating to see. Cracks come in many different sizes, and each one requires a different technique, so there's a lot to learn. The most straightforward ones, like the ones we tried at Palisade Head, fit your hand. Harder variants might be thinner and only fit your fingers, while wider variants might fit your whole fist. The hardest techniques to learn involve cracks that are even wider than your fist can jam in, and require very specialized techniques to climb effectively. For now though, we'll stick to the more straightforward types. Having improved our crack climbing skills, it's time for our first trad climbing lead, back at Mt Erie. This is it. I know everything works in theory, but that doesn't mean it isn't still scary to apply in practice when the top rope is actually gone. The fear of messing up and falling kept me focused and tense the whole time, but that should pass with more practice. My first trad lead was a success and got me feeling confident and excited to learn more and get better at this exciting form of climb. What a cool experience. This won't be the last time we trad climb, and there's bigger adventures ahead. Trad climbing unlocks some of the most beautiful climbs in the world, especially multi-pitch. Make sure you don't miss those adventures by subscribing. See you in the next one.